Hey guys, this is Joe from Analog Archive back with another video. Today's video is going to be my finds for the month of April. Busy month, found a lot of great stuff this month, continuing to find more free jazz stuff. Kind of a mix between stuff from stores, but this month I bought a lot on like eBay especially, along with some finds on Discogs, which normally I don't really tend to look online for stuff. I like to try to find as much as I can in stores just so that, especially for condition, I can kind of check before I purchase. But a great stack of stuff, so we'll get started. First one is Nature's Revenge. This is Ryo Kawasaki group, and this is featuring Dave Liebman. I've loved Dave Liebman, just all of his records, all stuff that he did with Elvin Jones, along with his solo stuff. Just an amazing 70s, 80s saxophone player. So when I saw him featured on this album, definitely wanted to pick this up. I'm not familiar with Ryo Kawasaki, but just a preview of the album sounded really great. Just 70s guitar led. So very excited. Haven't had a chance to listen to this one, but a great one to find. MPS label out of Germany. So I think this is one of the first albums that I have on this label. I might have a few, but not many, but excited for this one. Next one, this was one that was actually in the RSC video that I made last week. This is Wildflowers New York Loft Sessions #1. There are 5 of these sessions from recorded at Eric Dolphy's apartment in New York City over the course of I think it's a few weeks, but it's 5 record collection, 22 performances, 60 major musicians, mostly free jazz leaning, but some of them are not as free as others, but a great one. So start this one off. I've seen this one before, but I finally picked it up. Wasn't familiar with this artist, but on ECM, this is Bill Frisell in Line. This is his first album as a leader. He was a guitarist in, I think, starting in the 70s, but had a lot of albums like in the 80s and kind of beyond. This one's kind of a mix between just like kind of just traditional kind of jazz, but it also is kind of like ambient as well. A lot of use of like pedals and just kind of different sounds that could be made from the guitar. It's just him on electric, and then he has 2 songs that are he plays the acoustic guitar, and then Harold Anderson is on the bass on a few of the tracks, but it's just the 2 of them, and a lot of the tracks just feature him on the guitar. Very different of a kind of jazz leaning album than a lot of other stuff I have in my collection, but a cool one that again adds a different kind of aspect to my collection, so was excited to grab this. This next one, I wasn't familiar with, but I saw Dave, the VC ambassador, had picked this up from Carolina Soul almost 2 months ago now. This is Andrew White live at the New Thing in Washington, D.C., but it also has a few tracks that are in Buffalo, and being a Western New York native, it's cool to find albums that have kind of a connection to the general area where I'm from. So just free jazz. Andrew White, great saxophone player in the 70s. Not familiar with the other musicians, Gene Rush, Steve Novosel, Eric Gravatt, Buell Neidlinger, and John Bergamo. Again, not familiar with those names, but cool 2 LP set, and was excited to find this one again, especially after Dave found it, and I streamed it, really liked it. Was able to find this in the basement at the Bop Shop, so was excited for that. This is one of the first things I found in the month of April. This is from Carolina Soul, one of the eBay auctions. This is Pharoah Sanders' Journey to the One. It's a 2 LP on the Teresa label, a label that he recorded a few albums on in like the late 70s, early 80s. This is from 1980. It features him on the saxophone, tenor sax. You've got Joe Bonner piano, Ray Drummond bass, Yoko Ito Gates on koto, Eddie Henderson on the flugelhorn, John Hicks piano, Idris Muhammad drums, and then obviously, again, you've got Pharoah Sanders on the tenor sax. Much different, well, I should say much different, but a little bit different of a sound than what you hear from his Impulse stuff in like the early 70s, late 60s. Not as free, just more like spiritual, more improvisation. Not as free as what you'd hear, and really just an excellent listen. There's a few tracks that I think have some vocals on it, but those are kind of just supplemental, just kind of in the background. And just amazing playing by Pharoah Sanders. This is a really excellent album. So if you do ever see this, again, it's not like his Impulse stuff. It's a little bit different of a sound. Just probably as he moved on, his taste, his approach to jazz changed. And this is, again, from 1980, so quite a few years after Impulse. And so excited to have that one. A really great listen. So another one, I've got a few of Archie Shepp's records, but this was one that I wanted to find. This is called Kwanzaa. This is from, I think, 1974. Just like the Pharoah Sanders, this one is a little bit different of a sound for Archie Shepp, not as free, just more, it's actually almost like you got like this like jazz funk influence to it. There's quite a few tracks that have got this, just a groove to it, and then him on the saxophone. You got a huge lineup. You've got Leon Thomas, who was on quite a few of the Pharoah Sanders records, just kind of known for his yodel-like singing approach. Jimmy Owens, it's another name I recognize. Woody Shaw is excellent on this on the trumpet. Groshan Mancur III, trombone, great player. James Spalding, another excellent saxophone player. Charles Davis, Cecil Payne, Dave Burrell, Cedar Walton, Walter Booker, Wilbur Ware, Joe Chambers. Great, very large lineup, but an excellent one. Not a super expensive one either, but a great one if you do see it. So that's Kwanzaa, Archie Shepp. This next one I was really excited to find. This is Charles Tyler live. It's jazz at the Umeå Jazz Festival in Umeå, Sweden, 1975. Great live performance by Charles Tyler, an excellent saxophone player dating back to the 60s on ESP disc. Quite a few albums that he led on ESP disc, along with being a sideman with like Albert Eiler and other guys like that. But just an excellent one. Charles Tyler stuff is really hard to find. This one I found this was on Discogs, along with one that's coming up as well. But a great price for this, really clean condition, great sound, great fidelity, especially for being a live recording. It sounds excellent. But I found this one thanks to Alex Muderick247 on Instagram, along with here on YouTube as well. He showed this a few months ago on Instagram, and being kind of interested in Charles Tyler's catalog, I was looking for this one, and it popped up a few weeks ago on Discogs, so was very happy to grab that. Excellent listen. This is one of the big finds for the month. I finally found a copy of Lush Life, John Coltrane. This is an original pressing, I think it's 61 was when this came out, on the Yellow and Black Fireworks, Bergenfield, New Jersey Prestige label. Got great lineup: John Coltrane, tenor sax, Earl May bass, Art Taylor's on the drums, that's on the A side, and then the B side, you've got Coltrane, tenor sax, Donald Byrd features on the titular track, Lush Life, Red Garland piano, Paul Chambers bass, Lewis Hayes drums, and then you've got Albert Heath is also on the drums on the closing track. Very kind of in line with his early stuff, especially his Prestige stuff, it makes sense that it came out on Prestige. This came out after he had moved to Impulse at this point, or around the time that he was moving to Impulse, and as the story goes, a lot, especially with a lot of John Coltrane stuff, Prestige took advantage of his popularity and kind of put together a few of the tracks that had not been released yet onto this one. So this is a great one. Always been looking for a copy of this. Honestly, any pressing really would have been great for this. I missed out on the Analog Productions one. Even when they repressed it, I kind of just missed the ball on that. But was able to find an original. This was actually Tom, the owner of the Bob Shop's personal copy, and he was kind of offloading some of his stuff, and so very happy to have been able to grab this. Great condition. Tough to find these Prestige records in great condition, so very happy to have that. Another basement find for the Bob Shop. This is Eric Dolphy, Volume 3 in Europe. So there's a 3-volume one. This is obviously the third one. Would love to find the first two. You've got Eric Dolphy alto sax and bass clarinet, Bent Axon on the piano, Eric Mazelholm on bass, and Jorn Elnif on the drums. Not familiar with any of those guys, but obviously European musicians that he probably met up with to record this. This came out, I think, around like 64. Might be wrong, 63, 64. I think this was originally on the Blue Trident label Prestige, but it might have been, it might have potentially gotten on the red and black, or not, sorry, yellow and black Bergenfield label, but I'm not positive on that. But this is a green 70s Prestige one. Just very happy to have this. Love Eric Dolphy. His stuff, especially on Prestige, can be tough to find. So happy to have this. Great condition. Sounds great. So very happy to have that. The next one, probably one of the most exciting ones for the month. Very happy to have finally found a copy of this. This is Frank Wright, One for John. So kind of paying homage to John Coltrane. Great free jazz on the BYG Actuel label. Bob Bradley actually just found a copy that he showed in his most recent video. Very happy to have found this one. I think this is only the second BYG record that I have. Another thing that I'd like to find more of this year, but Frank Wright is a more recent kind of interest for me. I'd like to find more of his stuff, and very happy to have found this one. It's on eBay for a good price as well. So next one is Albert Ayler. My Name is Albert Ayler. This is one of his first albums. I think this might be like his second record, technically. This got a different cover. This is the UK pressing from 1969 that came out on Fontana. This was another Carolina Soul auction find. Happy to have this cheap price. I think this was like 20 bucks, 25 bucks. Not a lot of people had an interest in this. Definitely got a free jazz approach, but he's playing like standards. So you've got like Bye Bye Blackbird, Billy's Bounce, Summertime on Green Dolphin Street, and then you've got the closing track, CT, is actually his composition, but mostly just standards and his approach to standards. So this was recorded in January '63, but is very free for that time. So you can kind of definitely see where Coltrane started to get his influence. Even again, January '63, you're starting to get, that's pretty early for that. I mean, Ornette Coleman was kind of big at that time, but with that approach to jazz. But Albert Ayler, another early free jazz pioneer. Happy to have this one. So that was a great eBay find. This was the other one that went with the Charles Tyler Live. I was able to find this from the same seller on Discogs. This is Spirits Rejoice. Albert Ayler, you've got him on tenor sax, his brother Don Ayler on the trumpet, Charles Tyler actually features on this one as well, alto sax, Henry Grimes and Gary Peacock both on bass, and Sonny Murray on the drums. Excellent free jazz lineup. All of those players, I mean, Henry Grimes, Gary Peacock, Sonny Murray were just staples of the ESP catalog when it came to the rhythm section. Don't have a piano, but that's not super uncommon for these ESP disc ones, especially when you have those kind of quintet lineups to it. But a classic, Spirits Rejoice being one of his bigger tracks, free jazz all the way. Always really loved the cover of this. Very happy to have found this. So that was another big find for the month. Next one, they actually showed this one also in the RSD video. Another Frank Wright. This is Center of the World live. So this is like a 2-volume. This is volume 1. Great lineup to this. Great free jazz. I just listened to this one a few days ago. Very happy to have found this. So if you ever come across this, you like free jazz, this is definitely a great 70s free jazz, late 70s. In no particular order, the last one, was very happy to have found this one as well. This is Cecil Taylor. This is Nuit de la Fondation, May, Volume 2. So last month, my March finds, I found Volume 1, and I said I really wanted to find especially Volume 2. You've got kind of, it's a 3-volume live concert from actually the same location, or the same kind of jazz, kind of like not festival, but kind of jazz concert as the Albert Ayler, that box set that came out as RSD last year. But you've got Cecil Taylor piano, Jimmy Lyons on alto sax, Sam Rivers is on tenor sax and soprano, and then you've got Andrew Surreal on the drums. I know Dave, VC Ambassador, absolutely loves these sessions. Definitely very intense listen, and you really do need to listen to kind of volume 1 through volume 3. Volume 1 predominantly features Cecil Taylor, his kind of solo. So there's like a 15, 18-minute long piano solo, and then you get into, I want to say it's Jimmy Lyons' sax solo, and then that kind of continues on to this one, and then you've got Sam Rivers, his solo as well. So this is predominantly featuring kind of the saxophone part of the concert. I still haven't found volume 3 yet, but this was another one to kind of add to this set of concerts. So that is it for this month. Great finds. Again, a lot of free jazz stuff. As I said at the beginning, most of it, or a good portion of this, came from either eBay, especially eBay, but also a few records from Discogs as well. But just, yeah, continue to find more free jazz, expanding kind of my horizons when it comes to that. I've definitely grown more accustomed and actually enjoy the kind of the sounds from these free jazz albums. Definitely not something that's easy to jump into, at least for my kind of experience, but very happy to have found what I did. And that's it for this video. So if you liked it, please think about liking and subscribing. I appreciate all the comments, especially in the last video, the RC video. A lot of great comments. I appreciate, I really appreciate that. And I will see you in the next final video. Bye.